Hey guys, and welcome back to my top 5 worst classes of BFA slash specs. We're going to be going over just what specs I think are the worst to play right now, and the ones that I've just been doing, for the most part, really bad for all of BFA. It will be going from the worst of the worst, which is Brewmaster already, to the best of the worst, being the last one. So, yeah, let's get right to it. First, kicking off the list, if you've dropped by my live stream ever at twitch.tv/paraglasses, you know that I fucking hate Brewmaster, and it's like the one class I just refuse to play no matter what. There's lots of reasons behind this. The main reason being, our damage is not all that great. I'll hit my two hardest hitting damaging abilities right here. Wabam. Wabam. And that's like all we do. That's all the damage we do, essentially. Essentially, Blackout Strike is your only damaging ability in PvP. I guess mix that with Keg Smash as well, but Keg Smash has quite a long cooldown. Of course, we do have Tiger Palm, Breath of Fire, Rushing Jade Wind, but those abilities don't really do a whole lot of damage, and they're more meant for just kind of AoE things. A lot of the complaints I have about Brewmaster is because it is designed for more or less PvE. So, that's something to keep in mind. On top of our very, very shitty fucking damage with Blackout Strike kind of being like every other third global as a Brewmaster, is our healing is non-existent. One of the common themes for tanks to be good in PvP is having your own self-healing and not having to be super reliant on healers for your healing. Kind of ironic, but that's how it is. Brewmaster doesn't have any healing. Essentially, the only healing we have is Vivify, which is just, ooh, 50k heal, absolutely massive. 3 crits in a row that was on. But non-critting, that's about 23,000. That's your essentially only heal outside of Expel Harm, which doesn't really do a whole lot, and it just, like, it takes in all the, it doesn't make any sense to me. It takes in all the healing orbs that you have a slight chance to spawn as a Brewmaster, and then does damage based on the amount of healing, but it doesn't heal for anything, so it doesn't really do any damage. So it's just like a Walmart heal. Pretty much your main heal is a cast, which sucks, and your other heals, a heal just doesn't heal for anything. So no heals. Third, we take way too much damage as a tank. You know, a lot of the things about tanking in PvP is that you want some sort of active damage mitigation that is actually decent. Brewmaster is really good for PvE. Their damage mitigation for PvE is very, very good. However, for PvP, it's kind of dog shit. By the time you have enough stagger to start clearing it, you're pretty much already dead. And at that point, people are trying to focus you. I can count maybe 1 or 2 times where I've actually gotten a good Purifying Brew and Iron Skin Brew in PvP. It's just, it's not meant for PvP, and that's why it doesn't do good in PvP. On the bright side of Brewmaster, though, we are kind of mobile. I'd say almost not as mobile as a Guardian Druid, but I mean, we're pretty mobile for a tank. And another upside to Brewmaster, and it's not all negatives here, guys, don't worry. Another upside to Brewmaster is you do get kind of a weird trinket thing that is only specific to your spec, and you have what I'd like to just consider the most annoying interrupt kit in the world. You can pretty much stun people with Keg Smash. You can Mighty Ox kick them. You can cause them to, I think one of these does it, like, caused you to wander pretty much like a blind effect, but for just like 3 seconds. But at the end of the day, you don't do any damage, you don't have any healing, you don't have any good active damage mitigation, and the only thing you really bring to the table are maybe 2 interrupts consistently and slightly better Druid mobility. That's it. So, worst of the worst, don't play Brewmaster, guys, unless you hate yourself. Then I mean, go for it. Number 2 on the worst specs of BFA. It's Prot Warrior. You'll notice I don't even have a shield and sword, and that's because I hate Prot so much that I indeed deleted my one-handed weapon and sword. So, yeah, I guess we'll use our shitty artifacts to just kind of showcase what we do. But going into Prot Warrior, as I've mentioned, our damage absorption slash self-healing slash damage mitigation is the worst out of all the classes, in my opinion. Fight through the pain, ignoring 50% of damage taken. So essentially, it's not even damage mitigation, because you're taking 50% of the damage. It is and it isn't. It's just the worst damage mitigation out of all the tanks, at least for PvP. Your damage is kind of bad. I guess let's get that across right now. Your damage is pretty bad as a prot warrior, similar to brewmaster. The only thing that really does damage as a prot warrior is shield slam and thunderclap, and then corruptions if you have corruptions, but we don't talk about that. But yeah, shield slam, thunderclap are like your only damaging abilities. Devastate doesn't hit for shit. Revenge doesn't hit for shit. Ignore pains, ass cheeks. Shield block is only good against melee, and right now casters are just dominating everything. Yeah, the damage is bad. The healing is bad. I guess we have good mobility with 2 intercepts. We do have 2 intercepts. Let's look on the bright side here, guys. We do have 2 intercepts, so you can kind of charge around the map like that. And you do have, I guess, Dragon Charge as well. And you have Heroic Leap. So your mobility isn't that bad. But if you have all these on cooldown, you're just going to get kited forever by casters, which, again, pretty common and very strong in the last patch of the expansion. The good news is you do have Spell Reflect to deal with some casters, and it does reduce magical damage you do take. But, again, bad damage, bad healing, bad mobility outside of cooldowns, all that. Let's get into the bright sides of things. The only redeeming aspect to Prot Warrior, in my opinion, right now is Dragon Charge, which is essentially just really good for Eye of the Storm. You just go down middle in Eye of the Storm, and you press this button right here, and it knocks everyone off the middle of the map. Outside of that, we have a good amount of damage percent increase, and what I mean by that is if you use the right talents, Booming Voice, Heavy Repercussions, and Avatar, that is essentially 65% damage increase to your Shield Slam, if you do have Shield Block up. So your Shield Slams can potentially hit hard. I'll showcase that here real quick. Just use most of my cooldowns, and Shield Slam for 24,000. But yeah, that's like the best it's gonna get, another 24,000 Shield Slam, but that's with every cooldown that I have. Talking about more defensive cooldowns, we do have Last Stand, which is your only really heal, even though it's a 2-minute cooldown. It should be noted that Last Stand does heal you and give you max health. I feel like a lot of people don't know that and think it just gives health, but yeah, it does heal you as well. And then Shield Wall reduces damage you take by 40%. Nothing too amazing there. Also, Rallying Cry, we all know what that does by now, but yeah, in conclusion, Prot is essentially Brewmaster, but with a warrior, and you do maybe a little bit more damage, and you are maybe a little bit more mobile, and maybe a little bit more durable during caster fights, but maybe by like seconds, milliseconds compared to a Brewmaster. Still, by far, the worst spec, / one of the worst specs I played in BFA, and it is also one of the only specs I refuse to play on the stream / in general. So hopefully they fix it for Shadowlands. Number 3 on the list, guys. It's Outlaw Rogue. All I really have to say about Outlaw Rogue is physical damage. There's a lot of specs that do magical damage. Poison, Arcane, Shadow, Frost, whatever. But our spec is 110% just physical damage. We don't have any sort of non-physical damage. And the main reason this is important, and the main reason I think this is important, is because Guardian Druids and Holy Pallies just fucking dominate the healing world right now. And those classes, when they're in bear form or just being a Holy Pally, they have about 50 to 60% physical damage reduction. So if you were to say, Sinister Strike a Holy Pally for 5,000, it would actually only hit for 2,500. This is seen on all of your abilities as an Outlaw Rogue, which is, in my opinion, what makes it so piss poor compared to every other Rogue spec in the game. But let's look on the positives, guys. There's not only negatives to Outlaw Rogue. First of all, we have cooldown reduction on our blind. Pretty much every cooldown we have, it has cooldown reduction built into our just baseline gameplay through, I think, Relentless Blades. So the cooldown of Adrenaline Rush, Between the Eyes, Sprint, Grappling Hook, Marked for Death, Blade Rush, and Vanish by 1 second per combo point spent. That's like the one redeeming quality to Outlaw, in my opinion. Other than that, there's not really much. I guess you have like the Pirate Fantasy. You can disarm people with this mantle. But yeah, just the damage. Just the damage part is like the main reason why I just not want to play this spec. Another kind of thing, positive thing about Outlaw is the fact you can have 2 Crimson Vials going. So if you have 2 Crimson Vials, that's 60% of your health over 6 seconds. So the self-healing isn't bad, but I'd say like everything else is bad about it. It just doesn't do good damage. And, it just, yeah, not good damage. But everything else, you know, not bad. It's like slightly better than Rogue, and you like utility usage because you've blinding powder and all that shit, and between the eyes being a stun and stuff, but other than that, it just falls apart. Pretty much the damage the other two Rogue specs do, by far, makes up for the utility loss that Outlaw kind of has over them. So, yeah, Outlaw Rogue, I still stand by the saying of, I just wish we had old combat, man. I wish we had old combat Rogue. But, again, I've played Outlaw and Shadowlands Outlaw is looking a lot better, so hopefully, whenever pre-patch drops, I'll do an update on Outlaw, and it'll be a lot better. Okay, this one pains me the most, because I actually enjoy Demo a good bit. And I stand by my saying of it. The problem with Demo isn't that the gameplay's fucked, it's not that the rotation's bad or anything like that. It's just the numbers aren't backing up it whatsoever for most of the expansion. What I mean by that is while I'm using / doing the rotation, it feels good, you know? It feels solid, it feels smooth, all that stuff, but when it comes down to the numbers that it actually does versus PvPers, it is... First of all, the ramp-up time is way too high. The ramp-up time for Demonology is fucking atrocious. So you kind of not only have to be not getting focused, but if you do get focused, it's even harder to kind of build up that damage. Another horrible thing I fucking hate about Demonology is Shadow Bolt damage. Our Shadow Bolt hits for the same damage as an auto attack on any melee. Let me say that again. Our Shadow Bolt hits for as much as any melee auto attack on any melee. It hits for about 5,000, and this is getting buffed through certain talents. Just kidding, it's not. So 5,000 baseline, I look like a fool now, but that's okay. But still, 6,000, 5,000 damaging hit for a 1.5 second cast time. That's just fucking retarded, Blizzard. I don't know who out there crunched the numbers for Shadow Bolt damage, but they must be dyslexic and not know what numbers mean, because it doesn't feel good whatsoever. You use Shadow Bolt not for the damage, but just for the soul shard consumption. At the end of the day, when you're playing when you're playing Demo, your fucking imps do more damage than your Shadow Bolt. Okay, now that the upset person's over, let's do this. Let's kind of do our burst here. So I'd say this is the closest we get to burst as a Demo lock. You get all of your pets up, you summon a Demonic Commander, and you have 2 Fel Guards up, and then just go about your normal rotation. This is our burst, whether you believe it or not. Not much better than our normal damage, but our normal damage isn't that great to begin with, so... yeah. I'll still stand by it. I still think the rotation / gameplay Demonology is fine. I just think the numbers need to be tweaked. Shadow Bolt damage needs to be buffed. We need more options in the talent trees. I mean, I can't think of the last time I ever went Bile Scourge or Dreadblast. Like, I've gone these talents. The only thing I really take out / switch around for Demonology is Sacrifice Souls in, like, Demonic Consumption. Then if I'm running, like, a meme build, I'll run Pleasure Through Pain, Bile Scourge, and From the Shadows. But essentially, you never change your talents. Inner Demons is shit, Soul Conduit's shit, Nether Portal's trash because you just get interrupted when you summon it. You have to choose between Mortal Coil, Demonic Circle, Vile Fiend doesn't do anything. Demon Skin's like, you never ever go out of Demon Skin. Power Siphon's just the go-to. Doom takes too long to do damage. Bile Scourge, no one stands in range of Bile Scourge long enough for it to do damage. It's... I don't know, it's upsetting to see a good... like, game design class-wise, like, the rotation feels good and all everything, but, like, just talents kind of being lackluster. Honor talents, not so much. I still think Warlock Honor talents are pretty fun. But just the talents. The baseline, you don't really change out too much. The damage, it's not that great, unless you farm Berserkings forever, or are just really geared and have tons of mastery. Demonology tends to just be weaker than the other two Warlock specs. We are also slightly more squishy since we don't have Demon Armor, and Demon Armor is just 90% armor increase and 5% stamina, and we are somewhat of a hard caster. But yeah, there's more negatives to positives, so that's why it's on the list. And now, to the last character, which I think I should be offended / ashamed of putting here because it's my main. Okay, guys. We are on the best of the worst class on this list. Feels weird to say. Enhancement Shaman. The reason it's on this list, I'm gonna... No shits, guys. No shits. The only reason it's on the list here is because we only have one defensive. And that one defensive, no matter how good it is, 40% damage reduction, you know that's really good. That's literally shield wall for a warrior. We just need another one. We just need another defensive. And I'll explain this. When you're playing Enhancement Shaman, realize, I can't do damage at range, correct? I can't do damage at range. I can maybe Earth Rock Bite or someone, and I have 40% damage reduction, right? Okay. 40% physical damage reduction, right? And again, this doesn't apply to casters. If I'm taking damage from casters, I'm still going to take the same amount. When you're an Enhancement Shaman, you have to run in the front line to do damage. You simply have to. There is no way around it. And when you do go in that front line, you know what tends to happen as a shaman? With all these fucking cool animations and good transmog. You know what tends to happen? You tend to get focused. And when you get focused, you start taking damage. And you're like, oh shit, I'm taking damage, let's pop Counter-Strike, Warlords, Astral Shift. 40% damage reduction, increased health, reflected damage. But then what do you do when that very short duration of Astral Shift is over? And when that Warlord's health badge is over? You're stuck with no defensives. And being in the front line still, taking full damage. And you know what? The only thing you can do to get out of this situation, I'll show you guys. You have to run away. And here's the paradox / predicament. You can't do damage from range as an enhancement. So you have to be in the front line and take tons of fucking damage. Or do no damage. So there's no in between. There's just no in between. Other than that, though, I think enhancement is great. I think the damage we do is actually pretty good. I'll showcase that here. Why not? Cooldowns, yay! And again, with berserking, this damage is increased by quite a bit. But again, our burst is good. Our damage is good. I think our playstyle, for the most part, is fine. I just really think we need more defensives. I think we're way too squishy. Especially considering Demon Hunters with Blur, Cover of Darkness, Threats with Bubble, Lay on Hands, Shield of Vengeance, Arms with fucking Parry, Defensive Stance, Death Knights with Death Strike, Death Pact, fucking... I feel like every other melee has some sort of, like, good self-healing or defensiveness built into the kit, and all we have is, like, Astral Shift. Shitty defensive cooldown is what Astral Shift will be known as, and Healing Surge, which, by the way, Healing Surge heals for an abysmal amount in PvP. Heals for about 20,000, which is a 20th of someone's health right now. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. Damage is good. Healing's trash. Defensives are trash. We do have Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's really fun. I hope they don't get rid of that, but other than that, I don't really think we provide a whole lot. We can cleanse fucking curses. Oh, big deal, but that's it. I guess a ranged interrupt too, but that Demon Hunter has that now as well. And we have Purge. But Purge is Purge, and like 3 classes have Purges now, or 4 or 5 have them now, but yeah. In conclusion, good damage, not good healing, really bad defensives, and the whole paradox of needing to be in the front line to do damage, but not having enough defensive / tankiness in the front line to be in the front line for more than, say, 30 seconds or 10 seconds. Pretty much until you get focused. And that's my top 5 worst PvP classes, guys. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you disagreed, agreed. All those shenanigans. Follow Twitch, guys. Follow Twitter. Join the Discord. All of that is in the description below. I'm excited for Shadowlands, and I'm excited for actual new content, guys. I'm dying out here in BFA, man. No fucking beta. Pre-patch is trash. No, I'm kidding. Pre-patch is good. I just haven't played PTR much, but thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.